Good morning to all of you. My name is Naumir. Today I am going to discuss my presentation topic, that is diagnosis in social casework process. Social casework process in diagnosis. Actually, diagnosis is the second process of social casework. So this is my topic. So I will discuss here. First of all, we'll discuss introduction. According to Mary Richmond, 1917, there are three processes of social casework practice. When the social casework started, then where there were only three process of social casework, that is social investigation, that is also called psychosocial study, second is called diagnosis, and third is called treatment. When social casework started, there are only three process of social casework. Now it has been, the phases are divided into five stages. Now it has been five stages. Let's see, look at the first is social investigation, that is called also study. Second is assessment, that is called also diagnosis. Third is intervention. Fourth is termination. Fifth is evaluation. Here we will understand the second process of social casework, that is called diagnosis. First of all, we will understand here what is diagnosis in social casework practice. Diagnosis is comes under assessment. Diagnosis comes under assessment. Whether this diagnosis, we can substitute the word use as a assessment and diagnosis, the both same things. Diagnosis is the second major process in the practice of social casework. Is diagnosis on the basis of information collected through the first process of social study. We know we have first process, that is called study. First of all, we collect the information of the client in the first process, that is called psychosocial study, and second is called diagnosis. Here continue, we understand diagnosis, yeah, assessment is the attempt to arrive at an exact definition as far as possible of the social situation and personality of a given client. Here in diagnosis, what we do, here we understand social situation and personality. Social situations means the client is able to interact, is interaction with the social environment or not, we'll try to understand here. And what is the personality present raw, here social worker is try to understand the social situation in the client and personality related behavior, like his attitude. We'll try to understand in diagnosis his attitudes, his feelings during the diagnosis process. It is a search for the cause of the problem which brings the client to the social worker for help. Here we will try to understand the origin of the problem, cause of the problem. Because of that problem, client must to come to get help from the social worker. It is called professional help. The caseworker form an opinion about the problem difficulty faced by the client after careful studying his situation and condition, as well as about the nature of help required by him. Here social caseworker what after studying, during study we got the all about the study about the client, like factual information. After getting the factual information in social diagnosis, we do the opinion about the client's problem, that what could be the best alternative solution for the client betterment. The caseworker understand the etiology. Here caseworker try to understand the causes and origin of the problem of the client. Parliament has termed this function of problem solving through the application of social casework process as thinking through the fact. Here Parliament says that after getting information, here we think about the fact. Through the fact, what could be the solution, what could be the best solution for the client, and what could be the treatment here. Here thinking in which attempt is to made to understand the evaluate the problem of the client and plan of treatment is formulated. He called function as a diagnosis process. According to parliament he says that it is the thinking through the fact and it is called diagnosis process, because here after understanding all the things, we try to formulate the idea and here try to formulate the opinion that what could be the treatment plan for the client to solve his problem. And here one term is called diagnostic product. We understand the diagnostic product in social casework process. Whatever evaluation is done after identification of the problem areas and factor relating to them, the attempt are made towards possible solution is term called diagnostic product. In product, what we do in diagnostic product, we evaluate the problem of the client, and here we think what could be the possible solution for the client betterment, that is called diagnostic product. Here in social casework process, there is three content. Content of social diagnosis. The content of social diagnosis assessment in casework process fall into triangular pattern. It consists of here the first of all we try to understand the nature of the problem, brought and the goal sought by client and relationship. Here we understand the client, client has problem, but we have to understand the nature. What kinds the problem has the client, we have to understand problem of the nature of the problem. The second stage is called nature of the person who bears the problem, his social and psychological situation and functioning, who seek needs help with his problem. Here we have to understand the nature of the person, how the person is behave and attitudes, feelings, everything we have to understand here. Second content. In third content is that nature and purpose of the agency. Here we have to understand the agency, the client has come to the agency is able to provide the services, is the available services to him or not. We have to understand also goal of the agency here in three content. Here we have to according to parliament has further divide the types of diagnosis. Here we have to understand the first diagnosis is the basically three types. We have to understand dynamic diagnosis. In dynamic diagnosis, we are trying to understand the current situation of the client, current situation, current social functioning situation, how the client is able to function with the social environment or not. We have to understand. And in diagnosis, and second is clinical diagnosis. The case worker attempt to classify the client by nature of his sickness and problem. Here we will try to understand the nature of the sickness, whether the client has which type of problem he has. Maybe he has AIDS, is maybe a malaria. Here in clinical we have to understand the nature of the problem and sickness. In etiological, third one is etiological diagnosis. Here we have to understand the client history. In client history, we have to understand the how the problem originated, how the problem rise. Everything we have to study in the etiological diagnosis. So I have discussed here the introduction part of the social casework process, concept of diagnosis, diagnostic product, and content of diagnosis and types of diagnosis. So thank you to all.